back to the channel. Today we got the 04 Nissan Frontier up here in the garage with the lift. We're gonna see if we can't put some shocks on this thing. Let's go ahead. I've done got the lift arm set. Go ahead and get this thing up off the ground. Now I'm gonna try, I know I can put the rears on. Just checking that to make sure it was where it needs to be. I know I can put the rear on without taking the tires off. I'm gonna try to do the front. Without it, I don't know. Let's go ahead and get it up off the ground just a little bit. Good enough for right now. What I'm gonna do, I went ahead and cleaned right here, put some PB Blaster on that. So I'm gonna see if I can get that off there. All right, I'm gonna attempt to hold this with one hand. I've got the vice grips clamped on the little part that sticks up and a ratchet wrench on this other. And we're gonna attempt, looks like it's gonna work. It is. All right, right there's what I've done. I've clamped it up there and I've got the ratchet wrench. I'm gonna put the camera down while I take this loose. Then we'll raise it up and get the bottom one out. Maybe we won't have to take these tires off of it. So stay tuned. Let me go ahead and get this backed off there and I'll raise it up. Be right back with you. All right, well, as you can see, the driver's side worked just fine the way I did it. The passenger side, it twisted and stripped the shoulders, so I went and got the Sawzall. Trusty Sawzall with a metal cutting blade. Slid it right on top of that right there, and that solved that problem. So we're gonna go ahead, get this light down. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this truck on up in the air. Get them off there because I don't need hitting the head with that. Make sure it's good and solid. We'll take a look at this other. Yes, that's a 5.3 LS, all aluminum. Another project. All right, one more time, let's let this thing latch. Let it down to where it catches. Now it's safe to get up under. So let's go ahead and get a wrench and see what size them is. It's a metric, I'm sure. We got to get that right there. Turns out that's a 17 millimeter. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this out. So once you remove this bolt right here, I ain't gonna bore you while I take that out. Take this bolt out, and I gotta get that one down out of there, and we'll work that shock right down out of there. Let me get the bolts out and we'll be right back with you. All right, we went ahead, we reached up there and we took that top assembly apart. We got this bolt right here. Pull it out, keep up with everything. You're gonna need it. Just lay that right back up here. Have it on video, that way when I can't find it, it's laying right there. Now, this may be a little tricky and I may have to put the camera down, but just gotta take this shock and collapse it, which shouldn't be very hard considering that truck bounces like a basketball going down the road. I'm gonna go ahead and collapse this. I can't do it one-handed, and work this shock back down out of there. And this shock is showing some wear. It's got a little rust on it. And upon further inspection, look what that says, Nissan. I'm willing to say that this is the original front shock. Like I said, this truck bounces like crazy. I should not be able to collapse that shock that easy. It's collapsed. Anytime. Nope, not gonna happen. Okay, that one's wore out. Yes, I'm a DeWalt guy, but there it is. There happened to be a Milwaukee laying around. I'm sorry, I used it. Anyway, let's grab the new shock out of the box and we'll take a look at it. here's the new one. I didn't go with anything super expensive. I got these off of, I think, Rock Auto. They're just a cheap shock. I mean, this is a little light, cheap truck. I didn't invest in nothing super expensive, but this is gonna be this one's replacement, which is still laying right there. Needless to say, I'm sure all four of them's about the same. So now the trick is just gonna be working this one. You may have to collapse it, work it back up in there. Yeah, let's see, I can't do this one-handed. Well, all right, maybe I can. You're gonna have to collapse it, but just a little bit. Yeah, that one's stiff. Okay, I'm gonna have to put the camera down to get it, but I gotta compress it just enough to get it over that. And we'll be right back with you. We should have put a timer on that thing. Anyway, right there's that. Just had to compress it just enough to get it up over those ears. Put that into place. Now, the new tap, if you had a small enough wrench to fit the end of that. I don't, so I'm just gonna have to use what I got, but push this shock on up. I'm just gonna have to hold it and start collapsing it, or tightening this up rather, and it'll pull it on up there where I can get a hold of it. All right, how tight's too tight? I'm not sure. I didn't look up no torque specs, but I'm gonna quit about right there. You see how we've got this collapsed? Maybe a little too much. That's drawn up in there. That's sticking up through. Everything's nice and tight. This side's done up right. Now, I'm not gonna bore you with doing the other side. It's just the same process. So let me get the other front shock on. We'll move to the back and we'll go through that process. Stay with me. All right, that's got the passenger side complete. Same process. I didn't bother showing it. Adjusted it about, or tightened it up to about the same. We're just gonna leave that. There's the shock that come out of the passenger side front. Same, it wasn't hardly as rusted, but same thing, they're wore out. Now let's move to the back of the truck and see what we're faced with. Wow, rusted and gone. I tell you what, off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and wire brush those bolts sticking out. I'm gonna wire brush those, throw a little PB blaster on it, get my socket and everything ready and let it set and soak for just a few minutes. I mean, I dare say those are gonna be, you know, you compress them, they're gonna stay there. Little truck's fairly clean up underneath it. I had never been up under the whole thing. Got a little exhaust leak I may have to get worked on. Huh. Well, anyway, I don't need to say anything about that, but yeah. To have the miles this little truck's got on it, it's in fairly good shape. Dry, clean, rust-free. Hard to beat a Nissan. I mean, you got Toyota, come on. Which is gonna be an upcoming video, the Toyota that's on my channel. I'm fixing to have to tear it down and rebuild it. I did 76,000 miles ago. That was before I'd done a YouTube channel, so I got a few pictures of that rebuild. I'll pop up and put in the video when we get to it, but let's go ahead and do what I said. We'll get back into this in just a minute. All right, they've been soaking for about 15 minutes. Let's see if old off-brand here can remove it. Might have to do a little more cleaning. Have to go get a yellow one. All right, same process. Last 3 bolts. We'll be right back. Well, I got them down off of there, but this might be bad. This part right here, I'm gonna have to see how the other shock's made. I'm thinking that is probably the centers to that right there. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to clean and work on that right there and find out. I don't know if that other shock will go up on there. Get a hammer and a chisel. I ain't sure exactly how that's made. Gotta work on that just a minute. Let me get that cleaned up. I think it should look like that, but it's pretty rusted. Let me take a look at them other shocks. All right, I've got all those cleaned up now, and I went ahead and took a little dab of grease on my finger and put on there just to help these rubber ends slide back on there a little easier. I thought these might have a sleeve in it, and if I knew if they did, we was going to be in trouble there, but they don't. So I'm going to go ahead and slide these up on there and put the bolts and the taps and the washers back on it. Stay with me. Well, there they are. The rear's installed. Along with the front, the only thing left to do is clean up. I won't bore you with that. So let's move all this stuff out of the way. I'll get this thing back down off the racks and we'll clean this up. Well, there they are. From the time the first shock come off till now, it's been about an hour. I've collapsed them all and they're just staying right there. So those things are, I dare say, the ones that came on the truck in 2004. Like I said, the entire process with filming and all that took me about an hour. You don't film it, you just get under there and do it. No bad luck, everything comes off and on. 30, 40 minutes tops. That's probably including cleanup. I've got to move the truck, clean it up. So anyway, there they are. They're wore out. There they are. They're installed. Got everything buttoned up. The only thing I got to do is clean up, which I won't film. I ain't going to bore you with that. I'll get this thing down off the rack and get it cleaned up. Check the air and the spare tire, which happens to be nearly flat. I need to check that right there. I might do that before I let it down. But anyway, hope this helps someone. If you liked the video, I'd like to ask you to like, share, subscribe, pass it on. Stay tuned for more videos. Like I said, we're going to do a Toyota rebuild on a 22RE coming up. Don't really want to, but it's pushing water through it, so it's time. Y'all have a great day. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.